everyone, and welcome to our live webinar today, Democratizing Data with SAP and Salesforce1 Integration. My name is Ashwin Viswanath from Informatica Cloud, and with me today we have Colin McCreath, Director of IT at Addivant, and Jay Nagaram, the Chief CRM Architect at Microexcel, and we have an exciting lineup for you today. Specifically, we're actually going to talk about Addivant, Salesforce, as well as their SAP landscape, and some of the challenges they had with the SAP to Salesforce integration. We're then going to go into Informatica Cloud architecture, and we're going to go into some detailed screenshots and architecture discussions around how Addivant used Informatica Cloud to integrate SAP and Salesforce. And then we'll go into some of the benefits they experienced with Informatica Cloud, and we'll have our Q&A segment. But if you have any questions along the way, please feel free to use your chat panel to ask those questions so that we can try and get them addressed as we move through the presentation. So by way of introductions, our guests today are Jay Nagaram and Colin McCreath. So Jay actually started as an SAP technical consultant back in 2006 and has worked on multiple different projects within SAP, and is also a pricing expert with Vendavo. And back in 2009, he focused exclusively on Salesforce and has a lot of experience on Salesforce to SAP integrations. And in his current role at Microexcel, he's a Chief CRM Architect and leads the entire Salesforce CRM and the Informatica practice at his firm. Colin McCreath, the Director of IT at Addivant, has well over 18 years of experience in IT, in the infrastructure space as well as the architectural planning space. He served as a VP of Worldwide Security Services at JP Morgan, supporting a variety of mission-critical applications, and has also worked as an IT director in the City of New York Financial Information Services Agency, where he's responsible for a lot of the back-end systems, Oracle databases, BI systems such as business objects, as well as a whole host of middleware applications. And in his current role at Addivant, he's responsible for the entire Salesforce and Informatica stack, as well as all the back-end IT system infrastructure. Gentlemen, welcome to the program. It's a pleasure to have you both.
Thanks, Ashwin.
Thank you, Ashwin.
So let's go into a little bit about Addivant. And Addivant is actually a chemical manufacturer and a leading global supplier of antioxidants, polymer modifiers, and a whole host of UV stabilizer solutions. And they actually offer the widest range of performance-based polymer additives in the industry. Their products and services are available in more than 100 countries, and it's really the unique nature of their business which got them to this SAP to Salesforce integration issue, which we will talk about later in the presentation. So Microexcel was the systems integrator that actually helps with this particular integration project, and they have well over 500 employees based in the US as well as India. They're a certified Informatica partner, and they're experts in Salesforce to SAP integration. They also have expertise in many functional modules in SAP, Microsoft SharePoint, .NET, and Oracle applications. And they also have vertical-specific expertise in well over 14 verticals. So it's really great to have a partner of this magnitude with us today to talk about a very, very important integration use case. So diving right in, let's go into Addivant's Salesforce landscape and talk about the various departments within Addivant that ended up using Salesforce. So obviously the sales department is one of the main customers of Addivant Salesforce instance. But what you'll notice is there's several other departments that are also responsible for it. So you'll see the finance department, the legal department, pricing makes use of it, as well as one arm of their customer service group. One unique thing that I've noticed, Colin, is that your legal group and your finance group seem to be using Salesforce. And that's really a unique use case. I haven't really seen that many other customers. Can you shed some light as to what they're using Salesforce for?
Sure. All of our finance data resides in SAP. So SAP does not have a friendly interface. So our finance team wanted a way to be able to see this finance data, be able to proceed in terms of dashboards, charts, basically a visual representation of the financial data. Specifically, they wanted to be able to, from a visual standpoint, see how well our salespeople are performing against their budget. They set the budget. They want to see how well our salespeople are performing against that budget. So we were able to bring the data from SAP into Salesforce, create custom dashboards for our finance team so they could easily see who are the best salespeople, how the salespeople are performing against their budgets. So that's how we were able to get our finance department using the Salesforce application. In terms of legal, we were using Salesforce for when the salespeople go to our different customers. They could generate a contract on the fly through Salesforce and give that contract to the customer, which is how legal's using Salesforce. So, getting the data from SAP into Salesforce was key for us. Once the data was there, then we were able to show the finance data to our salespeople and to our finance group.
Excellent. Thanks for shedding some light on that, Colin. And Jay, you were really the expert behind some of these implementations. It's obvious that sales uses Salesforce, really closing their opportunities and whatnot. And there's always a close link between pricing and sales. So how exactly did these two departments interact with each other by using Salesforce as a platform?
Sure. See, as you said, once the sales team closes the opportunity, that's where, when they're negotiating with the customers, they talk about the pricing of the product. And since this is a specific case for Addivant manufacturing business, we do not have a list price for the entire organization for that product. We have specific prices for every customer and product line in different regions. So salespeople, they need a tool for negotiation and submitting the prices. Earlier, they have a legacy pricing tool that interacts with SAP and other systems. So our management wanted more robust and dynamic pricing system, and they choose to have this built on Salesforce Post.com platform. So we have built custom pricing application on top of Salesforce using all the data that we are retrieving from SAP system. So in Salesforce, we built the custom screen that a sales team can use for their negotiation purpose, and they can use that in Salesforce, traditional Salesforce system, on their iPad, on their mobile, so that they can submit this pricing in the system. And once it has gone through all the approval process, and once they met the rules that have been set by the product managers, it will get approved. And once it gets approved, Salesforce will send that information to Informatica. And through Informatica Cloud, we are sending that pricing to SAP system for order processing.
And
so this is how.
Great. Thanks so much for that, Jay.
And one thing I was going to add, Ashwin, was that
just to talk about the customer care part as well, the incident management group. I've noticed that, it is one branch of the customer care group. So, Colin, if you can shed some light on what their use of Salesforce is.
Yes, we are a chemical manufacturer, so we ship product across the globe. You know, ever so often there's issues or quality issues with our product. So our customer care team feels these problems with our product and creates an incident management database where they log complaints about quality issues with our product. So that's how our customer care uses it as an incident management system. We also use Salesforce to really get closer to our customers. We really want to understand what our customers are thinking. You know, why are they calling us? You know, what are their biggest concerns? You know, so that we could better provide better service delivery to our customers. So we were able to implement a system where customers can call by themselves. They could actually, from our portal, they could get information about their invoices, and about delivery information. So we were able to give all of this information that resided in SAP, right? Give that information to our customers through a customized portal, so they could come in and do self-service and get the information that they needed to do their business.
Excellent. Thanks so much for that, Colin. And now that we talked about Salesforce, let's actually, on that note, dive into SAP. And what you'll notice is the departments that use SAP for the most part are really vastly different from the ones that use Salesforce. The only common thread here is the finance department also uses SAP in this scenario, and you've got a different arm of the customer care group that's using SAP. So just leading on from the last discussion we had about the incident management group using Salesforce, what is the order management arm of the customer care group use SAP for, Colin?
Yes. So basically, our customer, so all of our orders are tracked in SAP. So, you know, from the time the chemical leaves the plant to the time it ends up at the customer's doorstep, the logistics behind that is also tracked in SAP. So the entire order management system, you know, procurement of chemicals, and also the logistics in getting the chemical delivered to our customers are all built on the SAP platform. And that is how we track our supply, our inventory, the logistics that's behind the orders themselves.
Excellent. So let's get into some of the actual other departments of SAP. And Jay, since you're really an expert within the SAP system, can you give us a brief overview of, you know, how the logistics group is using SAP, what modules the procurement group is using, and what demand management group is using? I think that'll really give our viewers an in-depth view into how SAP is being used, so that we can talk about the various integration issues that were encountered later on.
Sure. So when we talk about the SAP and the overall processes that happens in SAP, there are two initiation points. First thing is a salesperson going into their demand management or APO system and submitting their forecast. For example, in the month of August or in the month of September, I will be selling 10 metric tons of some product. And every salesperson across the globe will do their forecasting in their APO system. And using that system, our demand management team, they process the data and they analyze us that, okay, how much product we need to produce this month and what are the raw materials we have to purchase and so on so date. So they will send that to the procurement team and from there to the logistics team to organize the delivery of that product on that particular month. So this is one way of having from demand management to procurement and logistics is an integrated system. And from there, all the documents would be sent to the finance module of SAP. And in other way, once the salesperson finishes the opportunity and gets the confirmation of the contract, we don't know when the customer will place that order. Sometimes they call the sales team, and sometimes they call directly our customer care to place an order. So customer care receives the call from the customer, and they enters an order into our order management in SAP system. And from there, again, that order will be processed to the client for manufacturing that product or shipping, for delivery, and for invoicing, and so on for the next process. So all our order to cash cycle will be taken in SAP system using all different logistics, procurement, demand management teams in collaboration.
Wonderful. And that really sets the stage for us to talk about some of the challenges that you face with regards to SAP to Salesforce integration. So really, we're talking about updating pricing. We're talking about some of the customer master data sync issues, especially since there's a lot of master data within all the modules in SAP that need to be synced with Salesforce. We're talking about the order information coming into Salesforce. We're also talking about the accounting data. So, Colin, as a way of, really chalking out the scope of the project and outlining some of the issues, can you shed some light on how your team went about looking at the various challenges with Salesforce integration?
Sure. To be honest, I'd like Jay to field that question because he was a little bit more in, he dealt more with the challenges and some of the issues that we faced.
Certainly. Jay, if you could just give us an overview of, how you scoped it out, that would be great.
Yeah, sure. So first thing, to get closer to the customer and to answer all the questions that are coming from the customers, whether it is from the customer master team or sales team, they need all the information that is being entered into a SAP system on their hands. So SAP system, sales people, they cannot log into SAP system and get the data every time. So we want SAP data to be available with the salesperson in Salesforce, and that too with a secured manner so that it is not leaked to the other businesses or not to the people who are not supposed to get that data. So what we are trying to do, first thing, is all the customer master, product master, and other master data like Incoterms, sales orgs, profit centers, and all information, we want that data to be sent to Salesforce, and that is being done through Informatica Cloud, SAP, and Salesforce connectors. And in Salesforce, we are building the security model based on the regions and divisions and using the user profiles and roles. So when a salesperson is in North America region, or when a person is in North America region, he would be able to see only the data that he is supposed to see in Salesforce, and he would get his personalized dashboards and views in Salesforce system. So first thing is getting all the master data into Salesforce. And next thing is to get all open orders, open deliveries, and sales information for last 12 months into Salesforce and tie that record with the account information, and the account will be tied to the salesperson. So when a salesperson or a customer care rep enters into Salesforce system, they search for one customer, ABC Enterprise, and they go to that account. In that account, they will see this account has ship to in New York region, and there is a ship to in California region. Where is the order being sent? So the order will be tied to that customer, and the delivery will be tied to that customer, and also the last 12 months of sales information tied to that customer. So they will get a 360-degree view of that customer, and if there is any question from that salesperson, from the customer, they could answer that immediately. And also, One more thing is, I'm sorry, I'm being too fast. Okay. And once they have the call reports, like when they're talking to that customer, when they're visiting that customer, they can track, oh, you have an open order from last month, and this is being blocked for pricing block or so some other block. Okay, let me work on this block, and and the salesperson or the customer care person will work accordingly in the organization to clear that block and expedite the process of the delivery. So that's how it helps. The integration of SAP and Salesforce helps our business to go more aggressively and more connected with customers. And
Great, thanks. That's a really great overview, Jay. I think that really outlines the main challenges of the Salesforce to SAP integration and the steps that you took to solve them. In fact, we're going to dive deeper into some of the architectural elements of how you did that. But before I go into that, I just want to give a brief overview of the Informatica Cloud architecture for those of you on today's webinar that are not familiar with it. So basically, Informatica Cloud is a completely multi-tenant cloud-based application. So you would log into it by going to informaticacloud.com, clicking on the login button, and just logging into it like any other cloud application. But the actual workhorse or the engine that's performing all the integrations is our Vibe Secure Agent. And this Vibe Secure Agent is basically downloaded behind your firewall, or you can even put it on an Amazon EC2 box if you wish. And this is the agent that really is the workhorse and executes all the integrations directly from source to target. So whether your source and your targets are completely in the cloud, or whether they're completely both on-premise, or whether they're cloud to ground, the secure agent is the engine that orchestrates these integrations together. So what's really only being stored in the cloud is your metadata. And this really speaks to security of your data because it moves directly from source to target as opposed to going through the cloud. The only thing that's really stored within Informatica Cloud is the actual metadata itself. So with that, let's dive deep into the actual architecture that Addivant used, and this was implemented by Microexcel. Jay, can you go ahead and let us know what exactly we're seeing in this particular diagram?
Sure. So in this particular diagram, we're doing the same thing that you showed earlier in the architecture diagram of Informatica, but here we have like three ways of getting the data from SAP system. So for Addivant, we have basically like only two systems. One is the Salesforce that is sitting in the cloud. The other is SAP system that is within the firewall of the organization. So we use Informatica Cloud to integrate between the Salesforce Cloud and in-house SAP system. And as I said, Vibe Secure Agent has been downloaded into the firewall, like into one of our servers, and then from there we build the integration on Informatica Cloud, and this Vibe Secure Agent will get all the metadata from that cloud, and that will run the integrations and do the data exchange between Salesforce and SAP system. And when we are talking to SAP system, I've seen multiple ways of data exchange, whether it could be through IDocs, BAPIs, RFCs, or getting flat files from SAP system, reading those flat files, and then sending that data to other systems. That's how all other companies or even Addivant used to do that earlier, because we don't have the ability to read the data directly from SAP. So earlier we used to have SAP ABAP developers to write the extract programs from SAP get the flag files into some common location, FTP it to some location, and from there, Informatica Cloud reads the flag files and send that data to Salesforce. But once we have SAP Table Connector from Informatica, we have the ability to read the data dictionary of SAP system. So through Informatica SAP Table Connector, we are reading all the data dictionary elements. That's where we have come across a lot of challenges for master data integration. So here we have two types. First thing is SAP Table Reader, reading the customer and product masters, reading orders, deliveries, and invoice tables directly from SAP. And for pricing, we are receiving data from Salesforce to Informatica, and from Informatica, we are processing that data received from Salesforce, converting that into an IDoc format, and sending that to SAP for pre-processing. In SAP, this IDoc will be received, and it will be gone through some checks through the pre-processing program, whether that customer and product is available in that sales org and other system settings. Then it will create a pricing condition in SAP system. So that's how this entire architecture has been built from Microexcel.
Thanks, Jay. That's a really good overview of what's going on. We have a question that's come into the chat panel, and perhaps you can answer this. Was there any ABAP programming used?
Yes, ABAP program is used only 20%. So earlier we used to have ABAP programming for 100% of data extract from SAP system. But here we are using ABAP programming only for the most critical and complex logic. Say, for example, we are extracting material cost or accounting data, and we want to bucket that information into multiple groups and then load that into Salesforce. That's where we are using ABAP programming. For other things like reading customer master data from KMA1, MARA tables, MARC for plant product plant information, alternate unit of measure, and all other things like exchange rate, plant, sales cost, we are directly picking the SAP data dictionary table. So through Informatica Cloud itself, you can see those tables, and even you can preview those tables, select what are the columns you need in the integration, and then read the data and create the cost of the table. So it is like the cost of ABAP work in SAP system has been reduced a lot when we purchase SAP Deliveries.
So it really looks like. Sorry,
yes,
go ahead, Jay.
Go ahead. To answer this question, yes, we are using ABAP programming, but it's only when it is required for the most complex logics.
Okay, excellent. So it looks like a lot of the usual ABAP programming has is really being auto-generated by the SAP Informatica Cloud connector for SAP.
Yes, that's how Informatica Cloud works, I believe. What it does is it directly goes to the SAP NetWeaver. It generates the dynamic SAP ABAP program using the transformation that we created in Informatica. It schedules a program in SAP, extracts the data, and then hand it over to the cloud back.
Excellent. So now that we've gone into the overall architecture using Informatica Cloud, let's actually go into some of the integration issues you had and how you went ahead and solved it. So, for example, we talked about pricing updates being a challenge, especially when you want to update pricing using the custom pricing app built on the Force.com platform, and you need to update it in SAP. So, Jay, take us through how the custom pricing app that you created was able to get the updated prices into SAP. from an integration point of view?
Sure. The custom pricing app on top of Salesforce works on some pricing rules that are being set by the product managers. And our sales team creates a price record for a specific customer in a specific region for that specific product and for that specific shipping term. And there are multiple ways to generate this. They can create the price for that specific order. They can create price for a global customer. Say, for example, all ABC Corporation across the globe, if they purchase this product, they will have the same price. Or only for specific shipping location, this price gets valid. So on top of this Post.com platform, we have created this condition access sequences that are being maintained in SAP system. So once this price is submitted, it will go through the rules that are set by the product managers, and it can be auto-approved, or it could require approvals from the product managers. So once the status of that record changes from submitted to approved, Salesforce will trigger a workflow outbound message to Informatica system. So Informatica receives that outbound message, and then it will process that data and create an IDoc for SAP. So how we did that is using the Informatica Cloud maplets. We have first retrieved the IDoc configuration to Informatica, and then using that IDoc template and from the source data that we received from Salesforce, we map that data into the IDoc format and then push that IDoc to SAP. So SAP receives that IDoc, and then it will go through their regular pre-processing in SAP. There is also other ways to do that. We can directly call the BAPIs or RFCs to create the pricing condition, but this is a specific case for Addivant where they need some pre-processing in SAP. That's where we are posting an IDoc here.
Excellent. Thanks so much for that explanation, Jay. We have a question that's come to the chat panel, and it's specifically about the Force.com pricing app. So the question is, how long did it take you to develop this custom Force.com pricing app?
So this depends on the complexity of your pricing solution for the organization. For Addivant, it took around 3 to 4 months for completely developing this solution. And this is because we have the specific rules that are being set by the product managers. Addivant's business team is exceptional, helping us to clearly understand what is their requirement and how they want to process this prices into a SAP system. So once the requirements and the breakthrough sessions are done, we have developed this in 3.5 months, and then we wrapped up the complete testing in a month, and we delivered it in the 4th month.
Okay, great. So, and for folks who want to actually look at the custom pricing app, there's a screenshot we're just going to show right now. So, sorry, let me go back there. So what you see here is the actual custom pricing app that was built on the Force.com platform. Jay, if you could just basically go over, some of the fields and what kind of data it's looking at. I think that would help the audience understand a little bit more about how the specific pricing rules and the app worked for your Addivant sales reps.
Sure, Ashwin. So this is the item screen of the pricing app. So in this pricing app, a salesperson can add multiple products for same customer. So this is at the item level for one of the products. Say, for example, for if you see the first field, the price record is the record number, and it could have n number of products tied for the same customer within that validity period. And for that specific product, we have Incoterms, that is the shipping terms, and we have validity period, and we have plant, that is a shipping location, which is not a required field, but it helps us fetch the material cost from SAP system. So we have other fields like exchange rates and payment terms and validity period. And then in the price and margin section, the price $6 per kg is the actual price that is being submitted by the salesperson. And that will be compared with the floor prices and target price set by the product managers. And we use some custom rules to check whether the price can be below floor price, or if it is below floor price, who needs to be approved. If it is between the target and floor, who needs to be approved. We have built all the custom approval processes. And then we have costing coming from SAP system for that product from that plant. If the plant is not selected in that region, what is the material cost? And using that cost, what is the margin we are taking in the organization? So even in the margin level, if the margin is below certain level, we can build the approval processes and other stuff. And then we have other section like approvals and notifications. Who will be approving this price and who will be notified once this price got approved. So we have built the product managers, commercial managers approval process, and we also brought the notifications to the pricing specialist. So Addivant has a back-end pricing specialist team who monitors these price records coming from Salesforce to SAP, and to make sure the order processing will go smoothly without any blocks. So they will receive the notification, they will create any other auxiliary conditions that are required for the order, and then they will process them.
Okay. Great. Thanks so much for the detailed overview of this pricing app, Jay. So now let's talk about the actual IDoc process within SAP, and there's actually a question that's come on the screen about that. I'm hoping this will answer that. So let's talk about how you use integration templates within Informatica Cloud and how it interacted with the posting of IDocs to SAP. So if you could actually take us through what's going on here and how integration templates helps posting the IDoc to SAP, I think that would be helpful for the SAP experts in our audience.
Sure. So how we build this integration template is, first we went to the Power Center, and using the Power Center Maplet Designer, we retrieved the pricing condition IDoc that is in SAP con A, and using that IDoc structure, we created the maplet, and we used that maplet here. If you see the last but one icon, MPL underscore con underscore A, that's the maplet for the SAP pricing condition. And once we receive the price record from Salesforce, the first one is the source and the source qualifier. And from these two, we are distributing the data into multiple segments of the SAP IDoc. That are the four expressions that we have created. The first one is the control record for IDoc, where it says all the control segmentation information. And then we have the pricing header information, that is even KOMG, and then we'll have the validity information in the next segment, and then we'll have the actual pricing information in the last segment. So we have distributed the data from one single record to multiple segments using this expressions, and then we map that data to the IDoc maplet. So this has been built before this summer release of Informatica. I learned that in this new summer release, through the IDoc mapping designer, through Informatica Cloud Mapping Designer, we can even build this completely within the cloud itself without having Power Center maplets, using the Power Center maplets or integration templates. So I'm still working on that. I have like almost there finishing this test case, and once it is done, I can use that. I can say that we have completely used Informatica Cloud itself to generate this IDocs to SAP system.
Excellent. And there's actually a question around IDocs from the audience. Is the SAP provided standard IDoc sufficient for the data flow in and out, or does it need to be customized? So basically, it looks like they're asking if there's a standard given format for them, or whether it just varies from customer to customer.
It varies from customer to customer. Say, for example, here we have added some custom fields in the IDoc standard template. We have extended the standard IDoc message type in SAP and added few additional fields. If you have any other segments that are not being used, you can even use those fields for other custom information. So, for example, in the screenshot where you see the red highlighted box in the bottom of SAP screen, you see one field called UPMAT, and where it stores off the record number from Salesforce. So that is the custom integration that we did. We used an unused, like a field that is not being used, and we mapped the SAP Salesforce record number to that field. And using that number, we have created a program in SAP system for all the IDocs that are being processed. In SAP itself, we can go to SAP system, give this number in SAP and check whether that record has made it successfully to the SAP or not. If it failed in SAP, what is the reason it failed in the order in the IDoc processing? We can even create that kind of that report in SAP system. Okay.
Excellent. I think that's a great explanation, Jay. And before we move on from this slide, just one more question that's popped in. The question is, what is going on inside FFX? So I'm guessing the question is about the template picture over there, which is FFX. The question is, what's going on inside FFX? I think a high-level answer is probably good enough since we do need to move on to the other slides. So just at the high level, what exactly is going inside the FFX?
Okay, in the FFX is an expression. So we have data coming from Salesforce in one single record. So in this expression, we are mapping that data from one single record to multiple segments. And if there is any expression needed, so to concatenate few fields, or if we have a field from Salesforce coming as kg, and which is not an ISO standard that SAP receives, we are transforming that to the ISO standard units of measure in this FFX, and then sending that to the SAP system. So this is an expression where you can transform the data coming from Salesforce.
So I think that's a great answer, Jay, and we do need to move on to the other slides to outline the other integration use cases. So what's going on in this particular slide is the customer master data sync. So we talked earlier about the customer master data sync being a major integration challenge. So can you take our audience through how you're using Informatica Cloud in this particular matter?
Sure. So when we are getting the data from SAP, data will reside in multiple tables and not in one single flat table. So we should hit multiple tables in SAP, get all the required data, and then create that as one single record in Salesforce system. So here, what we are trying to do is, this is a standard incremental load from Informatica, where we are going to the change document header, and in that change document header, we are checking last 15 minutes if there is any change in customers, and then we are getting that change document and going to the KMA1, that is the customer master table, and from there we are retrieving some customer details, and from there we are going to the address master of SAP using that customer's number, and then using that address table, we are getting all the address details of that customer, and then mapping that customer, SAP customer number, name, some other details from customer master and the address table to Salesforce system.
Great. I think that's a good overview of what's going on here. So let's go on to some of the other slides to go more in depth. One of the major challenges when dealing with SAP is obviously hierarchical information. And when you're trying to get hierarchical information into Salesforce, or I guess any other cloud app, that's one of the biggest challenges. So let's talk about how you got SAP information into Salesforce, what kind of SAP information was brought into Salesforce, and the levels of hierarchies you had to deal with, and specifically who were the end beneficiaries once you brought the integration over.
Sure. For any customer that is being created in SAP system for Addivant, we are creating 5 different customers for every one customer. Say, for example, we have ABC Enterprises. That's the actual customer. So we got to create ABC Enterprises Global, ABC Enterprises USCA or EMEA, depends on which region they are in. And under that, we need to create the actual sold to customer, and then we create the ship to customer and the payer in SAP system. So these are 5 different customer records in SAP system, and this should go into Salesforce with the same hierarchy. So earlier, when we have IDoc integration from SAP to Salesforce, we have the issue of sending this data in sequence. When SAP sends the data to any other system through IDoc, it will not send that in particular sequence. It sends that data in some packets. So earlier, what we used to do is we used to have a staging database, get all the IDocs into that staging database, sort that data using this types of customers, and send that data from lower to upper level. Say, for example, I'm sending all these customers into Salesforce, and the sold to with the parent regional has been sent to Salesforce, but the parent is not created in Salesforce system, then that record will fail because the parent is not existing there. So we have a requirement to send that in a sequential order. First is the global, next regional, and so on. So once we have this table connector, what we are trying to do is we are trying to get the data first into Salesforce system, and then we are running another interface to get the relationship between these 2 records, and then loading that relationship in the Salesforce system. That's how we are maintaining this relationship. And how this helps the sales team is to know where exactly is the customer and where exactly is the order going. So for sales team and the customer care team, if they receive any complaint from the customer, they will know what is the ship to address, what's the ship to company, who is working on that ship to location from both the customer's end and also from the organization's point.
Excellent. That's a really good overview, Jay. There's a question here with regards to hierarchies, and the question is, are there any limits on the levels of hierarchies? Is there like a max number?
I don't think so. There is the max number here. We can build the hierarchy because we have customers, like we have distributor customers who have almost like 100 plus accounts under one global, and sometimes even more. So I don't think there is any limit unless there is a limit from Salesforce restricting this hierarchy. But as far as I know, I have built many customers which are more than 100 or 150 customers in one global.
Excellent. So now let's talk about actually viewing the SAP deliveries within Salesforce. So now we're talking about once your products have been delivered, how can you view that within Salesforce itself, and really who are the end beneficiaries of this particular integration that we see here?
Yes, this is the great example of what Colin has explained of becoming a customer company. So if you see this example, we have this delivery tied to the ABC Enterprises shipped to and ABC Enterprises sold to. Okay, and then we have the SAP delivery number, delivery date, when it should be delivered, what's the customer PO number originating this, and we don't have that in the screenshot, but on top of this screen, along with the related list, we also have the order that is originated for this delivery. And we also see what are the products that we are shipping, what's the quantity, and other details. So if a salesperson is going to the customer, and when he is talking to that customer, he will know what is the delivery that is pending for this customer and what is his latest delivery in so-and-so location. And if there is a call from this customer, our customer care agent will be directed to this customer immediately using our CPI integration for customer for Service Cloud. And once the customer pops up in the screen, from the next view, if you go to the next slide, from the customer's view, they can see all the deliveries for that customer. So here,
You asked about the beneficiary, and that's really our
okay.
because what we do.
So once
this
the
is really
customer
customer view.
Yes.
So Jay,
So
basically this is really the customer view. Okay.
Yeah, this is really the customer view. So once the customer care agent has been directed to this customer page, they will see what are the deliveries, what are the invoices, the next one, and what are the orders that are intended. So they can quickly answer all the queries from that customer, and they can direct that to the related salesperson. So here in this screen itself, they will see who is the salesperson or who is the account owner for this account, and they can direct this issue to that salesperson, and from there it will be sent to the plant person who is responsible for this delivery and other stuff. And if he has any billing inquiry, they can go to the invoice in the next tab, and they can see, okay, you have in the last 12 months, you have 20 invoices. You were talking about the invoice that is coming on 20th of June. So they can go to that invoice, get all the details, what's the product they purchased, and what's the price and all stuff. Okay?
Excellent. I think that's a really good drill down, Jay, into the various elements of the integration solution. You really gone into a great depth into each of the 4 integration issues and shown our audience how the solution is actually implemented. Since we only have about 6 minutes left, let's quickly wrap up with talking about some of the benefits that you experienced with Informatica Cloud, and then we'll have some more minutes, some few minutes for some Q&A.
Okay, so you would like to go ahead with the benefits, or?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, if you can just give us a brief overview of the main benefits you experience in Informatica Cloud, and then we'll go into Q&A after that.
Okay. So the benefits of Informatica Cloud is it's all declarative. There is no code, first thing. And also it keeps up with the speed of the cloud system. Say, for example, in Salesforce, if we need any new field in opportunity management or accounts management, or there is a new field in pricing. Last week, we have a request from one of our users. They want to capture some additional information in the pricing tool. Adding a new field in that app is it's like 5 minutes or 10 minutes work for us. But if we don't have this cloud integration tool and we have some traditional integration platform to send this data to SAP system, updating this integration for this cloud platform on the backend SAP system will take a lot of time. It could be weeks or months sometimes, depending on the complexity of that change. But since we have Informatica Cloud that is also like integration platform on the cloud, we can quickly go to that integration, refresh the source and target fields. It will get all the data from the updated structure of the source. We can quickly map that to the target, and it's also like it can be done within 1 day from the Informatica Cloud. That's the greatest benefit I see. And also when it is coming to the SAP integration, this is the best in class in SAP integration that I've seen till now. So because I've seen other integration tools, but the SAP table connector is the major thing that makes the difference between other integration tools and Informatica.
Excellent. Thanks so much for that, Jay. And since we only have 3 minutes, I'm going to ask a bunch of questions that have arrived here on our chat panel. The first question here is, how long did the overall data integration take with regards to the time it took to develop that Force.com pricing app? So how did the data integration part take? And how many resources were involved? So for the first half of the question, Jay, if you could answer that, and with regards to, so let's go ahead and answer that first. How long did the entire data integration project take?
So the entire data integration, because for Addivant, we have the data integration of all the customer master data and other stuff existing with the Salesforce system. Building the integration for the pricing app, it is not a tedious task. But if you want the integration, the pricing integration tool where there is no data integration earlier from SAP system, it would take longer because you should get all the other elements like Incoterms or payment terms or plans kind of information to Salesforce first, and then build the pricing app and then send the data back to SAP system. So if you want the ballpark figure, I can say it would be like 4 to 8 weeks for existing integration just to send the pricing information back to SAP. Otherwise, it would be more depending on the complexity of the company and how many interfaces they need from SAP to Salesforce and Salesforce to SAP back.
Okay. And Colin, since you're the entire director of IT at Addivant, how many resources were involved for this particular?
Amazingly, we were able to accomplish this with just 2 resources. It was Jay as the lead architect and another member of Microexcel as the lead developer. Jay understands the business side of it, the business processes, our business rules, our pricing rules. He was able to take the information working with our product manager, take that business information, throw it over the wall to the developer, and then code it so the developer could code their business requirements. So it was really just two resources.
Yeah, but ideally, Ashwin, the ideal scenario is one architect, one Informatica ETL developer, one Salesforce developer, and one Salesforce admin, I believe. That's a four-member team. But
Yeah,
we manage that with two resources.
right. Jay's a unique breed in that he has SAP knowledge, he has Informatica knowledge, and he has Salesforce knowledge. So he really was three people in one. And if you add the developer, so ideally you would have four people working. But we were able to accomplish this with just two resources.
Excellent. It really speaks to some of the optimization you folks did in accomplishing this integration project. So congratulations on that. Folks, we are actually at the top of the hour. In fact, we're a minute over, so I'm just going to answer one last question here, and we'll follow up with the rest of you on the other questions. The question here is about whether PowerCenter and Informatica Cloud should be used separately, and there's a question about pricing. So, as part of our Vibe, as part of our Vibe Secure Agent, we do have a common code base between PowerCenter and Informatica Cloud, so really they can complement each other. And as far as pricing goes, the SAP Table Connector is extra, and you can contact your sales rep for more details around that. So folks, thank you once again for joining us. And for those of you that are interested in trialing Informatica Cloud, please go to informaticacloud.com, and you'll see a free 30-day sign-up page there, and you can try all of Informatica Cloud's capabilities and all our connectors free for 30 days. Thank you to Jay Nagaram and Colin McCree for joining us today, and thank you to our viewers for joining us as well. Thanks, and have a great day.